Hey, it's Therese, and I thought I would record this training video so I can share with you some of my top mindset and energy tools. Now, if you've been following me a while, you know that while it's super critical to do all the tactical things, you got to get your website right and your messaging, and you got to learn to sell and get people in front of you. What blocks that stuff and what makes your business slow down is if you don't have the inner game pieces right. And so my expertise is I'm kind of known for being like a magician with mindset and energy. And so my little lane, my slice of the pie that I work in, I started as a marketing specialist. I used to do marketing consulting and coaching. I still have that in the background. But what I do today is I focus on the energy, the alignment, the embodiment, the mindset, because those are the places that most people get stuck and stopped, and they have no idea why or how. But I know. So I have a PowerPoint I created. So we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to be sharing with you some of my top tools. Okay. And when you use these, what's really nice is you can start kind of being your own coach. You can start flipping the switch. So I just wanted to share this with you. All right. Let me find my slideshow. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is called breaking the chains that bind you, because that's really what it feels like. I don't know about you, but I have had, and most of my people have had, the experience of being so freaking good at what they do. They're like rock stars that are sitting on the sidelines because there's like these invisible chains. Now, you could be making six figures, but know that you're still not to the level you should be. So that's the part that I want to work on today. All right, let's start with, I always like to kind of give a sense of how do you know you got the symptoms, right? Because if you don't know, it's going to be a challenge for you, right? And the work I do is not to create shame in you. The work I do is to create awareness. You got to have awareness. When you have awareness, you have a choice. Right? So I always love to give my people awareness, so then you can be like, well, duh, that's the thing. All right, so some symptoms, some basic ones. Of course, you feel stuck, you're spinning around and you're not focused. That's a sign that there's something underground, something in there that's really like holding you back. You probably are frustrated, feeling overwhelmed, and you're sure not making the money that you want or desire. And that kind of leads to like a lot of discouragement. I mean, I know so many people, they come to me and they've either made bad investments with coaching, or they've purchased programs that are really not the right fit at the right time. And it's like, damn, what is going to work, right? So I just want you to get real. I just want you to look at, where am I? Do I relate to any of these? Because if you do, you want to be listening, okay? Take the time to watch my training video. All right. So I'm just going to start giving you some tools, okay? Tool number one, you have to identify your patterns. Now that sounds like, duh. And what this is, very often we just get kind of in the weeds. We just focus. And unfortunately, when we get stressed out, our natural inclination is just to do more. So it's kind of crazy. It's just like, do more of what's not working, except do it longer and harder and with more intensity. That's kind of the old male model, I'm afraid. So you want to look at your patterns. Let's just give you a scenario. So this happens a lot, right? I coach somebody and I will create this exquisite strategy, or I'll create new messaging. So we've got this plan, and here's the messaging. Here's what they're going to say. And sometimes those sessions are like, can I really say that? Or, oh my God, can I really do that? Or can I really? It's like, yeah. So get it all set. And then, something happens. And so a pattern, very often, one of my top patterns that I see all the time when I know, like, ding, 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 it's called stop, start, right? Stop, start. You get started on something and then, maybe you get sick. Or you get started on something and then, you got to go redo a website. You get started on something and boom. I want you to be observing yourself. I want you to be not just in your life doing this stuff. I want you to be noticing, like, it's fascinating. When Therese worked with me and I'm supposed to raise my rates and create a new package, the pattern was that I started hearing the voice in my head that I could never get that much money. So then I decided to change the wording and not make it so bold, right? It's kind of simplistic, but if you can be the observer, or like imagine if I was watching you. Oh, I'd love to watch you. If I was hovering over you, if I was the word police, I'd be like, "Ah, right there, you shrunk." Like when I work with my clients, I really can read the energy and I can hear and feel and see and sense. And I'll be like, what just happened? Whoa, what just, whoa. And I make conscious the unconscious for them, right? So you want to call out the patterns. Okay, understanding is power. It really is, because here's the deal. You're going to hear about this in a minute, but like 95% of what drives you is unconscious. So if the more you can understand, the more you can go, oh, the more you're not hostage to the pattern. And the most important thing is to decide to make this a focus. You know, there was a book years ago called The Road Less Traveled, and this really is the road less traveled. Many of us are called to be conscious business owners, and when you say yes to that, oh, Nelly, you are going to get your ass kicked. That sounds not so good, but it's actually really good. What I mean by that is this. When you say yes to doing your soul work, when you say yes to going, all right, spirit, God, life, use me. Yes, I'm a yes. Everything that is not that, everything that is not in the highest and best, everything that is not your best version of yourself, yeah, it's got to go. Right. So sometimes it can feel like, God, I'm just pounded, or I keep hitting this wall of inadequacy, or I keep feeling like I got to prove myself and I keep struggling with whatever it is, right? You got to do it. The only way around is through. Let's say that again. The only way around this stuff is through this stuff. You cannot just go, oh, I'll just get more Twitter followers. If I just get more traffic, oh, I'll start a podcast. Oh, Snapchat's fun, right? Those are fun and cool. And you are the product. If you run a service-based business, it's on you, baby. Like you are the goose that lays the golden egg. You gotta be the best version of yourself. So let me tell you a story that really depicts what I'm talking about, okay? So imagine you have a basement house. Now, I live in Arizona. I don't know if we have basements. I don't think so. I've never seen one or lived in one. But anywho, other places in the country have homes that have basements. So imagine you go down and you head to the basement, and there's like a terrible flood and there's 2 feet of water in it. And you run up and you're like, oh my God. So you pick up the phone and you call your brother and you go, hey, James, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do. There's all this water in my basement. And James says, you know what you need to do? I've been thinking about your house, and I feel like if you did landscaping in the front, like you need to prune those roses and maybe, paint the front door a little bit. I feel like the curb appeal would just make your house just like so much better. And you go, all right. So then you call your friend and you go, hey, Elizabeth, God, I've got this flooding in my basement. I don't know what to do. And Elizabeth says, if your living room had a little bit better feng shui, it feels like the flow would really make people feel more welcome. So you probably want to add like some candles and maybe some teal pillows. And you look at it and you just go like, what? Now, both of those suggestions are great for your house, but they don't attend at all to the now rotting, molding thing that is of your basement. And that's what we do in our life and our business. We want the fixes. We want the things on the outside that we can just slap a coat of paint on it, or throw a new banner, or throw some traffic at it. But if you don't attend to what's in the foundation of you, if you don't attend to the stinky stuff that's underneath, oh Lordy, I'm sorry to say, but you're going to have some trouble, because that's where all the problems lie. So that's what I really want you to look at is, can you and will you decide to do this work? That's the most imperative thing. All right. So on this slide, I really love this, it's an iceberg. And research has shown that there's like 95% of you that you actually don't even know. So what I say is, you get to wake up, choose what you want to wear, And that's about it. like most everything else is probably really, really, really unconscious. And I'm going to talk more about the cost of that unconsciousness. So the work really is to understand either when a trigger event happens or when a fear happens, when a shutdown happens, that's when you're like, whoa, uh-oh, something's up here. I got it. The only way around is through. I got to go through this. I got to explore this. I got to be up here in an inquiry of it, right? Okay, so we're gonna work from that concept that you want to make conscious the unconscious. Okay, so this slide says, what did you really, really, really want? Was there a time when you had a goal? And I don't mean a goal of like, I'll walk to the end of the block. I mean like a big goal, like oh Lordy, oh, that would be so cool. Or like, oh, that's way too big. Again, looking at the pattern, how did it stop you? How did it stop you? You got to dissect this. So this should be an exercise. Ask yourself, what happened the last time that I wanted something and I got derailed? There's a fabulous book by Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap. You should read it. Everybody should read it. And he has he talks about, it's the upper limit problem. And so what that means in his world is, you have this, like you can get to here and you're going to be fine. But the more you keep pushing, you're going to keep hitting this. And very often I see this all the time, like, I'll give you an example. One of my clients, I did a retreat. She had this massive breakthrough. She finally claimed what she really wanted to do because she was in the wrong lane. She was playing it safe. She was doing something that a mentor told her, well, this will sell. And that's not what her heart wanted to do. So we got her over here. And it was scary because she, this is what she's known for. This is what I do with a lot of my clients. It's like, this is what her heart really wanted. The next day, she got in a car wreck. What? So of course, she can't work on her business. I would have the experience of, I'd be at a mastermind event and I'd be like, oh, awesome. Okay, set the big goals. And I had to come home and I'd be walking the dog. Boom, sprain my ankle. Other one of my colleagues would come home. We call it the reintegration problem. She'd be at this event and claim her greatness. And she'd come home and there was hell to pay because her kids were nuts. All this crazy stuff happened. She couldn't even focus on business. Or you say, yes, I'm going to do this. And then you have a fight with your boyfriend. And then you see what I mean? It's this thing that happens and we don't control it. We don't even know of it. So I want you to look at the freaking patterns. Is there something in you that keeps stopping you? There's a thing called the conflicting intention. And what that means is in your unconscious, so there's a part of you that says, I want this goal. Woohoo, right? That's the 5%. That's the conscious. But the unconscious, I'll give you an example. Say you're a woman and you're like, okay, I'm going to be a businesswoman. I choose to make 100 grand. I want to be a big difference in the world and I'm going to go for this. Yeah? In your consciousness, you have the old programming from the 60s that says women can't make that much money. You have the old programming from your family that's like, money is the root of all evil and people with money are just bad and icky. And you might even have a little thing in there that says, if you get that busy, you're going to suck as a mom and your kids are going to suffer. And so there's a conflicting intention, right? I want this, and then it's not safe to have that. And whenever there's a not safe, that one will always win. That's called a conflicting intention. And you hear people talk about that all the time. I'll give you an example. Like, I really, really want to lose weight, but God, there's a part of me that doesn't want to get up at 6 a.m. and exercise. Or on one hand, like I want to charge more, but on the other hand, I kind of feel like bad. Do you hear that? Like it's just so loaded in our language. So the goal, again, is to find, okay, here's the goal of what you want. What is the resistance? We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but what conflicts with that? And I'm going to share a whole bunch, so you're going to get to learn some places. But that's a place I want you to look at is like, wow, when I say this, is it like, yep, or is it like, wait, stop, hold on. Okay. Because remember, we want to make the unconscious conscious. Okay. And a lot of this is just, I just like to tell you, I just like to say this word. So here's the thing. All these blocks are literally living in the middle of your brain. There's a thing called the reticular activating system. And science has found that that is what filters for you, okay? Because if you think about it, I don't know the exact numbers, but there's a bazillion tons of stimulus that comes at you all the time, right? So simply like you're in the room and you don't even notice the hum of the air conditioning until somebody says, do you notice the air conditioning? And you're like, oh yeah. See what I mean? It's like we filter things. Now, if you have, again, in the unconscious, that part of you that is like, it's not safe to make money. You know, people that make money are greedy. Women cannot make money because they have to focus on their families, or nobody in our family has ever done that. And you better not be all that. But if you have any of that, that's what your reticular activating system is going to filter for. It will look for evidence or data or proof or truth, as opposed to somebody that has in their RAS, I'm good at making money. I can keep all the money I want. Money serves me and I serve the world. Opportunities find me easily, right? So why is it, I've actually had this years ago. Somebody called me and it was kind of a superstar in our industry. And I was like, oh my God, it's so-and-so. And I missed his call. And then I didn't return it. And then a few days later, I really should call that guy. And then I get, I got to go write a newsletter. And then a few days later, and then a few days later, and I'm like, oh, well, too much time has elapsed. Oh, well, it's because I didn't have in my reticular activating system that I could say yes to opportunities like that. Right? So you literally could have the $10,000 idea right here, or you could have the potential partnership that's like, yeah, but your system, your reticular activating system will literally not let you hear that, will not bring it to you. That's the goal of making everything conscious. So then you can go, wait, I could reprogram that thing. I literally could, what? You know? So I do a lot of work with money, and this is where we focus. Instead of looking at this, we look at that. Instead of believing this thought, we install a new thought. So that's just a little tiny piece of how this is working in you, because it's really imperative that you understand this is all just programming. You literally program this way. And what happens is resistance. Your brain will hijack you. I just talked about the filter, but what I know is that your brain is not your friend. Damn it. It's not your friend. See, here's the truth. If you look at the origins of us, right? We were cave people. And back in the day, there were all kinds of scary things jumping out. There were all kinds of dangers and perils ahead. And so our brains were literally wired to like this all the time. What's going to happen? Where's danger? How could harm come? And so our brains have this biological function to show you all the potentially bad things that could happen, or to show you how something will never work. And what happens is we listen to that. We just go, oh, so you get a business idea and you get super excited, and then you start hearing, that's not going to work. Like, who's going to pay for that? Da, 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 right? And I'll give you some techniques how to flip this, but I wanted you to understand the origins. So I always tell my clients, your brain is not your friend. It is wired to keep you safe, small, and stuck. Doesn't have to worry about you if you're not making crazy moves out there. If you just sit and you're like, we're good, I'll just watch Netflix, we're good, won't go out there, then you're safe, right? So if you understand part of the resistance that you hit when you have a new idea or want to go to another level is just your freaking biology instead of the truth, because a lot of people go, oh, like, it's a little scary, or, oh my gosh, I'm hearing this voice. Who gives a crap? You got to learn how to bypass it, right? So if you understand that your brain is literally designed to keep you safe and it's wired that way, you decide to not let it stop you. You are not held hostage by your brain. That's super, super, super imperative, okay? All right, so this, I'll get all fierce up in here now. The number one business killer is shame. And I talk a lot about shame. I have a history of it. I grew up in kind of a chaotic, dysfunctional family. And whenever you have trauma, when you have addiction or, just kind of stuff happen to you, you carry a lot of shame with you. And I want to talk a lot about this because this is a thing that a lot of people go, I don't have a shame. I'm not ashamed of anything. It's not that at all. It's really the sense that you're not enough. And it permeates every single piece of your business. I know I had a lot of proving energy. I had to prove that I was enough. And so I couldn't charge what I wanted to charge. I couldn't say what I wanted to say. Like I had all these kind of codependent, like, please love me. Am I good enough? Kind of, it's embarrassing to say, but we all do, right? And so I'm going to give you a slide in a minute where we go through some things because shame is subtle. It's really kind of tricky. But what happens is you want to do something in your business. And again, if you are just staying small, it leaves you alone. This stuff only hits when you say yes to more, yes to being a bigger version of yourself or charging more or being even bolder. And that's when that's when it's going to kick your ass, right? And what happens is most people hear the voice or feel the ooh, and they just collapse. Instead of being able to go, okay, isn't that interesting? I'm really triggered right now. I feel like a 7-year-old. I remember when I was in school and that teacher told me to shut up and sit down and stop doing that. I feel exactly the same as that. Okay, I know how to manage that. Most of us go, oh no, okay, well that's a bad idea, or I can't do it, or we just paralyze or shut down. And if you can work through the shame, and this is messy, and it takes, not everybody can do this. I used to be a therapist for 25 years, so I really know this work. But a lot of business coaches and a lot of mentors don't understand that everybody hits this shame wall. Everybody does. And if you don't have the tools for how to flip it, it's really easy to add more shame, like, oh, you're just not willing. You don't want it bad enough, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like, I think a lot of people are shamed in the name of self-help and growth. Not on my watch. Okay, so the goal is to literally understand where is this coming from? What are the little voices? And stop them. All right. This, I could spend, I've done courses on shame, but I was gonna say I could spend hours on shame, and sometimes I do. But I want you to, if you're watching this later, I want you to just really spend work here. I want you to either print this out or just really write this down. You gotta know, if you don't understand how it's affecting you, you're hostage to it. And so sometimes shame people don't go, hark, it's shame, right? Most people don't. If I say, hey, do you ever feel shame? If you've been in recovery or therapy or self-help or personal growth, you understand it. But if that's not really in your lexicon, then you'd be like, I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna show you some symptoms. Procrastination. Have you ever held yourself back from playing big, even if you wanted to? See, there's something in there. Look at my classes, it's easier. there's something in there about playing bigger, right? Because when you start getting big, the shame kicks you. Oh my gosh, waiting for permission. So many of my beautiful clients, unfortunately, it's like they can't just go, boom, this is what I want, so I get it. There's this place of like, can I do this? Is it okay? Because they've been told the opposite their whole life. Overwhelmed, shut down, spin around, less confidence. Oh my gosh, who doesn't have less confidence, right? This is a huge indicator of shame. You can't freaking ask for help. That was me. Because normal people say, I have a little need here, or I could use some support here. But if you are a shame-based person, that's a hard one. You feel uncomfortable charging for services? Yep. The fear of failure and success. What? Yep. I don't step up because I need more blank. So people say, I need more training. I need more education. I need yet another certification. I need more, blah, blah, blah. Like whatever it is, right? There's a lot of this. Whenever somebody comes to me and says, oh, I signed up for a course, I'll say, wait, what are you sourcing it from? If you're sourcing it from, I'm full and I'm great already, I just would be a little fascinated with that. I just want to learn a little bit more. Cool. if you're sourcing it from, you know what, I can't really start, or I can't charge more until I get, there's always that. So I have to have another course and another course and another course. Ugh, that's shame. All right. I deal with the perfectionism, so I drive myself nuts with overworking and overanalyzing. You know those people? It's never good enough. It's never good enough. They literally, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis, where like, I'll give you, this is the best story. Oh my gosh, this is a great story. So a client of mine is building her business, and she was newer in business, and we were working on everything. And she said, she was pretty analytical actually. She said, I think the problem is that I don't have a business plan. I said, okay, I don't think you need a business plan, and we're not getting, you know, funding from major banks, but for whatever, she felt like she needed a business plan. I said, okay, hon, do a business plan. She did a 240-page business plan. Now think of the work that went into that, all the analysis, all the research, all the hours. And she sent it to me, and I'm like, darling, I love you, but I'm not reading a 240-page business plan. Like, this is not going to serve anybody. Again, we're not trying to get a $500 million loan. Like, this is for you, and you're a startup. Make it smaller. She made it into a 40-page business plan. Jesus, I've never seen a 40-page business plan, right? And about 6 months later, she came back to me and she said, you know, that was my shame. It completely distracted me. It let me believe that I wasn't enough till I had this business plan, and it took me out of business for 6 months, because she literally was saying, you know what, I can't really start because I don't have a business plan. So notice that, okay? I feel like I have to prove myself. Oh, yes. There's a little voice in my head that criticizes me. I feel like a fraud. And the last one is, if they only knew X about me. For me, I just out myself. It was that I had to file bankruptcy back in, you know, however, 7, 8 years ago, however long that was. I used to sit and just go, wow, who in the world would hire a freaking business coach that had to file bankruptcy? I sat on that for years. Before that, I sat on, who in the world would hire somebody that never worked in business? I just was a therapist. I have learned everything from just throwing myself in the pool. That was such a chip on my shoulder. I didn't feel enough, because if you only knew, I didn't even know what Excel was. I thought it was a phone company. Like, I literally never worked in, you know. And so we have these things that we often look at like, oh my God, if somebody just knew this. Actually, when I do messaging, I take those things and I make them a fun part of your story. But the shame can use it like, oh, see, why would somebody hire you? Okay, so the thing is, you want to get real. I say get real to get free. So on that last slide, and you want to, you know, go backwards if you're watching this, get your number. Do you do it sometimes? You know, no, I don't do this at all. Yeah, a little bit. 3, and I want you to add up your number. Add up your number. And notice how high it is. And ask yourself, like, how is this showing up for me? Like, you know, out of all those descriptions, pick the top 3 that are just biting you in the ass, and just go, whoa, is it costing you money? Is it costing you confidence? Is it costing you clients? Is it costing you joy? Like, what is going on? Now we're going to start working on those little voices, right? And I just talk a little bit more about shame here. There's a difference, because some people kind of don't get this, right? So there's shame and there's guilt. Now, guilt is actually a healthy thing. If I accidentally step on your foot, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, right? Or if I accidentally say something insensitive or inappropriate, I can say, God, I'm sorry. So guilt is about what you do. And guilt kind of goes, that wasn't right. I need to make amends, or I need to correct that, or yeah, sorry. Shame is about who you are. And that is the bitch of it, because no matter what you do, if you have shame at your core, you're just not enough. And my favorite story of this is, y'all know Ted Turner, the gazillionaire. And Ted Turner, having made billions, he wrote in one of his books that, you know, no matter what I did, I never felt enough. I never felt good enough for my father. And I think God probably, like at 70, he went, wait, what? I'm 70 years old. I'm still trying to prove to my father that I'm good enough. But even Ted Turner, with gazillions of dollars and all his success, Even he, like he amassed a fortune, but what drove him was, I'm not enough. And so that is the lie of shame, that you are not enough. And very often, it's not even yours. It's not even yours. I'm going to show you how to get rid of it. But I want you to understand the difference, right? And again, if you're programmed with those messages, I was raised with a lot of shame in my household. And so that was the first place I would always go. And so you have to find it. That's why I spend a lot of time right now on, let's discover what the heck this is, so we can bring it to consciousness and then shift it, right? Are you having fun? I'm enjoying this. I hope you are enjoying this as well. Okay, let me find the next slide. Okay, so visibility. Oh my gosh, this is such a big deal. So I talk a lot about, when I think of visibility, I don't really specialize in traffic. I'm not going to get you 5 million new followers. I'm going to get you showing up your most confident, most bold, most brightest self, right? And every time I work with somebody on their messaging, their visibility, what happens is shame kicks in. So here's what I want you to ask. And this would be some really great journal questions. How does my shining affect others? How is, if you are like, whoa, super successful, if you are like, living exactly how you want to live, if you are just finally like being who you are, well, for some families, that's like rocket. I have a client, and I have a few clients actually that are different cultures. And very often in the culture, there are cultural indictments of, don't be bigger than everybody else. Don't, I come from, can you see with the freckles? I come from an Irish heritage. And I remember my grandma going, don't be putting on airs. Okay, I didn't really even know what that meant as a child, but I think what that meant is you don't stand out, right? I've had Asian clients that have the same, like, you got to be humble. You don't let people see you. And so sometimes there's cultural things. Sometimes there's family things, like, shh, don't ask. Don't be a show off. So just ask yourself, is there anybody in my life or my family that if I really step up, because unconsciously something's going to come up for you? Oh, here's another good one. Who would be threatened by me getting more visible? Woohoo, getting more confident, getting more me, getting more powerful. Who would be threatened? Now, first you'd say nobody. Oh, keep digging, little one, because there's somebody out there. Who would I feel I was disrespecting if I made it big? I was married to a man that made a whole bunch of money, and I had this unconscious, I didn't even know, it was completely unconscious, like, I can't make more money than him. Women can't make more money than him. I mean, it's just terrible. But I had that very, very, very deeply in my psyche. Another great question is, who am I afraid I'll become? Because this, I had an experience very early on in my career, that I was connected with somebody who I saw change a lot. I saw money and fame really change this person in a way that I didn't like. And that this person turned into a person that I didn't think was very ethical and had some integrity issues. And so for years, I was not that. I don't want to be like that. I got to be over here. And so I equated making a lot more money with changing or becoming somebody that is kind of easy and manipulative. I didn't know that was living in me until somebody busted it. But yeah, I remember years ago, I was in this mastermind, and I said, well, I don't want to be one of those sleazy marketers. And this guy raised his hand. He said, are you aware every time you talk, you tell us who you don't want to be? I was like, wait, I'm the therapist and you busted me? What? I didn't know, right? So these questions are so good. And then the final one is, what relationships would change for me? I have had a lot of women who, when I work with them, they unconsciously are holding back. It is not safe for them to move forward because of, well, my husband might be threatened if I make more money. That's not true, but there's a part of them, remember I said the conflicting intention, there's a part of them that believes that. Okay, so this is the weird part. Sometimes you're like, but I worked on this. Dang it, I have been doing this work for years. I thought I got that. And what happens when you get to the next levels, like let's say right here, let's say you're making 50,000 and you have worked such your psyche, you've worked on your beliefs, you have worked on everything. There's the dog, sorry. You worked on everything to get you to have the foundation of the $50,000 level. But what happens is, let's say you want to jump to a $100,000 level. Often what worked here is not going to work here. And yet we keep doing this, we keep doing this and doing this, and we're like, what is going on? Why is it not working, right? So you're trying so hard to get up here using this everything, and it's like it's often it just crumbles. And so there's this weird period where this doesn't work. It's like you've left, you're flying a plane, you've left, and you haven't landed yet, and you're kind of circling, and you're like, oh shit, I can't go back, but I'm not there. It's like, it's really scary and quite kind of, So David Nangle says, new level, new devil. And what that means is, if you have a new level, new stuff gets revealed. I always like to say, what brought you here is not going to take you here. And so you've got to learn new things and release even more. Okay? My dog is going a little nuts in the background, so I apologize. Okay, so let's get on to some tools. All right, let me find this. Okay, so number 2 tools. First one, remember, was watch your patterns. Number 2, how funny that when this happens, working with your little barking dog. See, my Finley is a little psychic, so I'm sure she's like vibing when I'm teaching here. So somebody comes to the door, or in my case, walking on the street. Finley barks, and that just means to me, because what I know that dogs do is they are wired to alert. That's your job, right? A dog is wired to alert. Now I don't go, oh God, she's barking. Somebody's out there. I don't run into the desk. What I do, if I'm not doing a video right now, what I do is just go, shh, down, go lay down. I got it. This is strangely one of my top teaching tools because of the simplicity. So when you can realize the barking dog in your head is the voice that tells you the shitty thoughts. Maybe it's, you're not enough, you can't charge, it'll never work, nobody will buy that, who are you? Like, if you could just like really like start encapsulating those thoughts and make them like, isn't that adorable? That's a little chihuahua barking, or oh, it's a little pit bull, or oh, it's a little terrier, and just see it's like it's just a barking dog. Because then you just go, oh, shh, go lay down, go lay down. See, that's an example of having an experience, getting triggered, and having a way around it, a way to manage it. So that's a super important piece. So remember, if you start hearing those thoughts, just like we do with our barking dogs, we go, shh, I got it. You're good. You're good. Okay, let's keep going. Now there's a tool. It's in your body. What I notice more often than not is much of what you are carrying and what I'm carrying and what we feel isn't even ours. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand, like what I do every day. If I get up and I'm like, God, I feel off today, you can talk to your body. Shockingly, your body will answer you back if you ask it. Now, if I say body and I see somebody go, that's not your body, right? So literally you want to put your energy in your body. Let's say you're feeling there's no way I could charge that much. Are you kidding me? I can't, like, who am I? I can't charge that. I work with a lot of healers and people that are like, they do good in the world, or they have a spiritual foundation. And there's this whole thing of like, well, if it's spiritual, or if I'm healing somebody, I shouldn't really make money off of it, right? There's that ickiness out there. And so you just say, truth, is that mine? And you should hear a yes or no. This is a tool from Access Consciousness. Yes or no. Now, if it's a yes, just go, okay. And I'm going to show you that in a minute because it's probably a part of you. Or you say, is that mine? And you hear a no, like, okay, that belief that's living in me, oh Lord, it's not even my belief, but I like got it stuck in my body somehow. I'm responding as if it's mine. So imagine if somebody like put a big cloak over you and you're wandering around in this and you're like, oh, I can get rid of it? What? When I do my retreats and any work that I do with my clients, I really go into the body because the body holds so much information. I do a lot of work. Somebody will come and say, God, I just got this terrible neck pain. And I'm like, oh okay, go to the pain. And we focus on wherever the sensation, the symptom, and there's always a message, right? It's kind of fascinating work. But notice if you're getting like funky feelings, if you feel heavy, if you feel insecure, if you feel like struggling, depressed, anxious, literally just go to your body, go, is it mine? Yes or no. Because once you discover if it's yours, then there's one path. If it's not yours, then there's another path to release it. Okay, next one. Let me find this. All right. So you locate it. So let's just go. People say, yeah, it's really weird. Like I've got this it's this big ball in my chest, and it's like it. And I say, okay, so tune into it, find where it is, and then you can just like put it in your hands. So take that big ball, it's this big red ball, and just talk to it. Like, I know this sounds so crazy, but if somebody says I'm feeling really anxious, okay, where in your body do you notice that? Oh wow, it's in my throat. Okay, well, go inside. What do you notice? Well, it's like blue and it feels real cold. And I'll say, you can either move it outside, put it in your hands, or you could say, okay, put your awareness there. What do you got for me? Why are you here? What are you trying to do? There is so much information there. It really is. And these parts are usually trying to protect us. They really are. It's not that we're just like victimized by all this stuff. There's very often, it's here for protection, right? So you can send it love. So let's say you have this thing in your throat and you just like, okay, I hear you. You're trying to protect me. All right. I appreciate that. So you send it appreciation. And then you say, how about if I give you a new job? You willing to give a new job? They'll be like, yeah. Okay, how about would you be willing to help me speak up? That would be super helpful. It's like, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, cool. How's that feel? Ooh, that's good. See, you can work with it like that. Again, don't be afraid. You're not going to hurt anything. It's not like we're doing brain surgery. So I want you to know that. All right. So other clearing tools. So I've given you, the mental, like you want to, notice the patterns. There's the barking dog tool, the work of Byron Katie. I love the work of Byron Katie. Literally the work, THEWORK. She's got a beautiful system for clearing the mental. Like if you're stuck mentally, like, God, I keep thinking this thought, or I'm stuck here, there's really good tools. Physical, like, okay, so we go the mind and then the body. EFT, tapping, woohoo. I think you can go on YouTube and go EFT for like pretty much anything. EFT for anger, for grief, for depression, to lose weight, to sleep better. Like anything, you just try it, because what happens is when your physiology gets jacked up a little bit, I don't think the mental tools work, right? So let's just say if you're like a 1 to 3 with agitation or something, you can kind of like, oh wait, that's an irrational thought. Oh, that's not gonna. But once your physiology is involved and you're kind of jacked up, you need to do something to change your physiology, right? So EFT, the parts work that I've talked about with, with the body. And sometimes what I didn't tell you is like, let's say you discover that there's a part of you that's afraid to move forward, and it's what I do. I'll show you what I do. I'll show you. So I have this pendulum. I use a pendulum a lot, and I can literally identify. I can say, this is what I do. I'll be like, okay, what happened when you were 10 with your father? And they'll be like, oh my God, that's the time. And I'm like, okay. And so we identify the origin, and then I can flip it. There's also energy and spiritual tools. I use what's called the resonant solution. It's the clearing and the energy work I do. And there is changing your identity, the basic changing your identity. That's a bigger conversation than this. That involves, who are you being in the world? That involves, is it in divine order? Can you be who God sees you as? Can you be your highest version of yourself? It's really like stepping in. The work I do today, I call it the alignment work, where you have to really align and then embody. You got to be. You can't like, oh, that's a great idea, I'll go for that. You got to like be that, and that's kind of juicy. All right, so I hope you've liked this. It has been super, super fun to share this with you. And feel free, and if you have questions, just reach out, message me. But more importantly, if you know that you're being called for more. Now, most of my clients have worked with a boatload of other coaches, been in masterminds, had other mentors, and they get a certain level of success. But they also hit a plateau because these pieces, most people out there in our industry don't have the skills to flip. They don't understand all this mindset and energy and healing stuff like I do, because I really do blend both. And so if you're feeling called, if you're feeling like, I could use some help, I want to go farther, let's have a conversation. So you want to go to happyinbusiness.com/let's connect. And what we'll do is we'll have just a 30-minute chat or so. And what you should know about me is I'm super relational. So, I'm so against some of the industry standards where there's that bait and switch. I'll give you a discovery strategy call and then manipulate you and we'll just talk. And if it feels right for us to go, hey, maybe we could talk about working together, we could talk about that. I have private work, I can, one-on-one work, I work with messaging, I do retreats, I do group programs, all kinds of stuff. So there's a variety of ways I could work with you to support you on this next level, from like short-term 3-session packages to year-long thing. So that's happyinbusiness.com/let's connect, because I would love to see you really break free, really make this next year just your best ever. And it's been such a joy to get to teach you today. So got any questions? Reach out. Otherwise, happyinbusiness.com/let's connect. Peace and blessings. Bye now.